Hello, my name is Debbie Rustin, and I've been an entrepreneur and trainer now since 1986. And today I'm going to introduce you to new options in education to really increase student success. So the question is, what's missing? What do we need to add to education to increase the rate of student success? Well, let's look at some of the things that we're facing right now in education. Many of you will be aware there's a very high underemployment rate. I believe the statistic recently was over 50% of young people cannot find work despite their degree. Then we look at the high cost of tuitions. This makes it very unattainable for so many young people that do want to go to school, but they just can't afford the high cost of tuitions, and they're rising every year. We add to that the high cost of student debt for those that are going forward and obtaining degrees. It's typical for a young person to have tens of thousands of dollars in outstanding student loans. So we see students graduating with degrees that cannot find work, high student debt, they've got degrees, they're waiting for someone to hire them, they're waiting for corporations to save them, they're waiting for government to provide some sort of solution, and they're fully capable of creating their own work, but they're not being educated to become entrepreneurs. And that is what we see as the missing link. Though very often we see young people accepting jobs in restaurants and retail just to make their monthly student loan payments. They can't afford to live on their own. Many are being forced to move back in with their families in their mid-20s, or they're not even able to leave home in the first place. So we see a generation of young people that have lost hope. They need something to help them take that next step and become self-reliant. It starts with our high school youth. Young people are graduating at 17, 18 years of age, and many do not know what they want to do with their life. They don't know what they want to take in terms of courses. They don't know if they want to go to college or university, and so many young people will take a year or two off just to kind of figure things out, which typically, if you've raised kids, tends to be a total waste of time. They don't know what they want to do, they don't have answers, they don't have solutions, they don't have people guiding them, so that 1 to 2 years they take off tends to be, for many, a total waste of time. Those that do go on to college straight out of high school very often, not always, but very often will waste that first year. It's their first time away from home, there's a lot of partying going on, and if they're not strong leaders in their own life, they will end up wasting that year and, not having the result that often a parent is looking for, and down the road when they look back, they'll recognize themselves that that first year was very much wasted on social partying, which of course is a part of that age, but we don't need to be paying tens of thousands of dollars to achieve that outcome. One of the things that we've got to recognize is we are moving out of the industrial age. So in our educational system, we are very much still teaching a lot of the same things that we have over the last decades, and it's not serving today's youth. So what's needed for today's youth to create success? The very first thing is to help them identify their passion. What is it that they are most excited about? There are so many great technological advances today, and combining that with innovative solutions, a person can take their passion and innovate to create something that perhaps hasn't been created yet. There's a Department of Labor statistic out of the U.S. that states that over 65% of the work that will be done by today's youth hasn't even been invented yet. So this is why it is so important for us to really encourage innovation. We've got to help these young people create leadership and personal responsibility in their lives. We've got to help them become self-reliant. It's important to help them think globally. We do not live in a world any longer where we have to just think geographically. So a young person could be living in a town of 10,000 people, and they could literally build a global business for themselves by following their passion, being innovative, being a leader, and taking self-responsibility for their future. There's so many technological tools that are available, and they're increasing every single day. So it's important to teach people to embrace that and not be stuck in the way we used to do things yesterday. There's also new options in education. There's the flipped classroom concept that's being embraced by a lot of forward-thinking educators. There's online learning. Again, no longer do we have to be put into a classroom environment. We can learn from the very best in the field of study that's of interest to the student from all over the world. So we don't have to rely on travel. We don't have to rely on being in the same community as an educator. We can search out the educators that have expertise in the field of study that is important to that student and access online learning so they can learn from the best. This lowers costs for education. No longer do students need to move out of the family home to learn. It saves cost on lodging, automobile that they might require to get to where they would be studying, and food. We have the solution. We believe anyone can create successful futures for themselves, and individuals do not have to rely on corporations to hire them or government to provide solutions. So what's needed to develop self-reliant future leaders? We need to help them identify their passions, embrace their ideas, develop their skills and their interests. We need to help them set meaningful goals and learn how to achieve them. We need to teach them how to make powerful decisions, build self-confidence and self-esteem. We all have our own internal intuition that's meant to guide us, and we need to teach our young people how to trust that internal judgment. We need to teach them how to develop their own leadership. Let's look at the cost of traditional higher education. Well, first of all, there's lodging, and definitely this varies on location, but can be very expensive depending on the part of the world that the student might be located in. There's food. There's the cost of meals when they're away from home. Many of them will need the automobile, as I mentioned earlier, to transport them back and forth to where they're perhaps living, and then they need a part-time job to support themselves, so they need to get back and forth. There's the cost of tuition. Again, this varies on chosen field of study and the number of years. Typically, this costs tens of thousands of dollars, again, depending on field of study. Let me introduce you to our multi-award-winning Accredited Entrepreneurial Leadership Curriculum. It's a one-year multimedia learning platform, so students can access this through their PC, their laptop, their smartphone, or their iPad. It's a combination of audio lectures, videos, workbooks, and a journaling system. We also provide a supportive mastermind community platform of like-minded students to gain mentorship. Very, very powerful part of the program where they can start discussions, join in discussions, gain mentorship, ask questions. We also provide a weekly training call through our 800 service. This is a weekly call that we conduct where we teach a different principle from the program each week to take it to a deeper core level of understanding, and then we open up the line for questions and discussion. An incredible way for these students to be mentored. And as I said, it's totally portable, accessible on a laptop, PC, tablet, or smartphone. So we combine the flexibility of online learning. It gives the student the ability to work a part-time job, working totally around their schedule. Some students work better in the morning, some work better in the evening. This program really allows them to customize it to their needs and their learning style. We provide ongoing training and mentorship from successful entrepreneurs. There's a low one-time cost, and we also provide ongoing content updates for life at no extra cost. How wonderful for a young person to continue their journey of learning on an ongoing basis and continue to access the training modules that are provided free of charge when they're added into the curriculum. There is also an option to obtain 1/3 of a master's degree with our accredited version of the program. So we actually have two versions available. We have the regular version and the accredited version. Those students that do want to obtain a degree will be assigned a private professor who works one-on-one on a weekly basis. The accredited version leads to a leadership development certificate, which is equivalent globally to 1/3 of a master's degree. And this is all from the comfort of home. No commute, no lodging, no high tuition. So ask yourself, what is it worth to develop strong leadership, personal responsibility, and self-reliance? What difference would that make to your son or daughter's future or the students that you are mentoring? Let's take a look at the type of improvements that we typically experience from the users of this program. So you may want to pause this screen. You'll see different categories that we did a recent survey on. We've got direction, judgment, commitment, confidence, self-esteem, how do you handle change, how do you communicate, personal responsibility, resourcefulness, ability to handle peer group, setting goals, achieving goals and improving conditions, ability to manage emotional state, resilience to setbacks, eagerness towards the future, and influential leadership. Our recent survey, we polled our users on their results in these categories before using and after. The before results are highlighted here in blue, the after results are highlighted in green, and typically we see a 40 to 50% growth in every single category that we surveyed. So what are these type of improvements worth for a successful future for your student? For details, contact me, Debbie Ruston. My information is here on the screen. You can send me an email or call me at either number, and I'll provide all the details and address any of the questions you might have.